Alright everybody, welcome back to another video on our favorite champion Hwei. In today's video, we're going to go through some of my favorite rune choices on the champions, my initial impressions after playing a decent bit on the champion, and where I think the future is for him, what roles I think are good, all that and more. So, firstly, why should you take my advice over other players? Well, I am Diamond 1 at the moment, so my opinion is somewhat valuable. A decently high elo perspective. Secondly, I've played about 55 to 60 games of him on live and another 15 to 20 on PvE. Means I was playing about 10 to 15 games of Hwei on live servers per day. So I've put in a decent amount of time and mastery onto him. As you can see here, I have scooped up level 7 on Hwei. So, what are we going to be doing? We are going to first be going into a practice tool. I'm going to talk about rune pages that I'm still testing out, which ones I've liked, which rune choices I like over other rune choices, and we'll be going over some simple tips and tricks that I've picked up from my games on Hwei in the practice tool. And after that, we're going to take a little look-see at some of the VODs from some of my games, and some of the things I want to show from the practice tools put into practice in real games. So yeah. If you want to stick with me, learn more about Hwei, how to slowly master this champion with me, then tune in. Hi everybody, Aki from the future here, and I wanted to just share my favorite Hwei quote real quick, which is like, comment, and subscribe! As you can see here, 99% of my watch time is for people who aren't subscribed. A subscription's free and helps the channel growth and reach more people. On an actual note, my favorite quote from the champion is when he goes, "Feel with me!" and we drop emotional trauma bombs on the enemy team. But yeah, stick tuned for the gameplay of the runes. Enjoy the video. Thank you. Peace. Alrighty, we gotta rush through champ select here. We got 80 seconds. But let me give you the basic rundown I like to take. So, we've got these recommended rune pages, right? Do not take Dark Harvest. Dark Harvest is troll. Comet and First Strike are going to be the ones that you're looking for in most games and scenarios. Comet's going to be better for bot and support builds. It can be useful mid too, depending on if you want the poke / how hard you have to push your jungle pressure early. First Strike, a little bit more scaling, and it's definitely pretty abusable into melee matchups. I personally like First Strike, footwear. I do like the biscuits, the extra mana is nice. You don't need the demets for wave clear. You don't need futures. Don't need perfect timing. And for the third rune choice, I think Cosmic Insight's always almost the best. That combined with Unsealed TP is a lot of CD. For Sorcery, I always almost take Sorcery second. Mana Flow, so the big change I do, I almost always take Transcendence over Gathering Storm. You just get more value out of it. You go AP MR into AP champs, AP armor into armor champs, and we are running out of time here. I will talk about other rune choices in a second. And wow! We're in champ select again, crazy. Okay, finishing up the rune choices, because I didn't think Riot would rush me so rudely. We're going to be talking about the Comet Path. Comet Path, we like Comet, Mana Flow. Mana Flow just seems the best out of these three. Maybe you take Nullifying Orb into like Assassin AP matchups, but I think Mana Flow is almost always better. Here we've got Transcendence, Celerity, Absolute Focus. There's a slight argument for Absolute Focus if you're playing like Artillery Rage mid-game, but I personally just prefer Transcendence. Haste is good on this champion. It gets your QCD lower, which helps with your DPS a lot in the mid to late game. And the refresh is also very nice because you have chunky CDs in the mid to late game, especially your W. Your W is still like 14-15 seconds at max rank. So getting more W cast in teamfights is nice, and more E cast is certainly nice. For the third choice, we've got Scorch, Water Walking, Gathering Storm. Personally, we double down on the Scorch if you're taking Comet. And then Biscuits and Cosmic Insight do the trick here. If you like Magical Footwear over Biscuits, that makes sense. You could try taking that too. And that's standard Comet page. You can take that mid or bot or sup. Comet's going to be the most used to the 3. It's just the easiest to apply. It works very well with the champion. Don't take Airy. Comet just works better. Does a bit more damage. You're not really going for... I mean, you're getting some auto trades with your WE, but just the Comet has more value. Hello, me from the future again. A little bit I missed on the builds here. We're talking about Hwei support for a second here. Summoner spells, obviously you're not going to want TP. You're going to want Ignite or Exhaust. You can go TP for Hwei Bot, but for support, you're going to want Ignite or Exhaust. Secondly, Red Tree does have quite a bit of value here as well. The cheap shot works well with your EE, your EW, your R, and Alt Hunter helps you get your ult out more, which is what you're going to definitely want as a support. Other options, you could take a support. Honestly, I don't see any value in these in the middle. Maybe you go Zombie Ward for clearing vision. And these other ones, Ingenious Hunter, you'd have to go like some cheesy Everfrost build, which is going to get removed anyways. Ultimate Hunter just makes the most sense. And secondly, build-wise, you'll see here on op.gg, they go sub-item, Sork, Shoes, Ludens. I would not go this build. You need to save a bit of money. I would go Spell Thieves. I would get the Boost Lucidity, so you're getting that Exhaust CD more, or that Ignite CD more. And to go with that, you could also run the Cosmic Insight instead, especially if you're trying to get maximum summoner uptime. I think Inspiration Second works fine for support builds too, as I talked about in the video. And I say you can go Ludens if you're snowballing, you're winning the game. Otherwise, I'd probably opt for the Liandry's into Haste build, and I would not go Shadow Flame second. I think I would still maybe look for that Cosmic Insight. Or maybe Horizon Focus if you have easy setup. But yeah, I would ignore this main build on support that you're seeing here. Especially Rabadons. Rabadons is so much money for a support. You're not going to ever actually have affordable money for that. You'd probably go like a pet item here third, like Void Staff. And that's why you'll see here, win rate 34% in support. I think it's just because people are building this champion wrong and playing it wrong. I think he's in a fine state. He could easily be mid 40% if people just did a bit more research and they get a bit more games in. So yeah, quick editor's note. Peace. Build. What do we want to build with this champion? Close all this garbage. Okay. Firstly, D-Ring. Great start. I think Doran's Ring is the best start right now just because the Doran items are strong. You're not really trying to snowball. Darkseal has some value, and you can buy it on certain 350 increments, but you never want to start Darkseal. And Corrupting Pod just needs a buff, let's be honest. This item is just not worth the 500 gold in the starting value. So, you almost always want to start D-Ring. Go to your lane, you go yada yada yada, we farm up a bit. Boom, 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 last hit, yay, maybe get a kill, woo! Back in base. You want to, your first base, you probably want to back around 1100 to 1250 gold, I think it's the sweet spot. If you can get that Lost Chapter and refillable. Boom, we used our pots and refillable purchase. Beautiful. Mythic, it's season 13 right now, so mage build diversity isn't crazy, but it'll change as we start hopping into season 14. Personally, I've been having more luck and enjoyment with Ludens and going more the AP burst. I think if you're building Hwei support, Liandry's does better with the haste passive you get versus the pen. But let's just pretend we're doing a mid lane build for the sake of this video. You probably want Ludens into Sorks. I think Boots of Lucidity work pretty well with Hwei support. You just commit to full haste. But here we go, Sorks. And now here we probably want a pen option. I've been going Shadow Flame a lot. You can also go Void if the early gold lines up better. Let's say you base on 1100 and they don't have a whole lot of shields on their team, so you're not getting a whole lot of that Cinder Bloom value. You could definitely go Void Staff second, but Shadow Flame second's been working out pretty well for me. And for the third item, one of the things you'll notice is your champion's very squishy and you have some self-peel, but it's not crazy. If you're snowballing out of your mind, you can maybe look for the Rabas, but in most games, I've been going Zanya's third. The Hourglass has really good value, helps you deal with some of the dive, and gives your teammates time to react. And especially since I'm going more of a TP build variation versus Barrier, which would be the other maybe useful summoner spell you could run. Barrier Flash. Don't go Ignite Flash. That is going against the identity of this champion. This champion is not supposed to be some solo kill 1v9 menace. You're trying to scale up a bit and hit your natural item spikes. So I'd say TP is almost always best, but you could maybe opt for the barrier or going like a Seraph's Embrace if they have like a lot of assassins or a lot of dive. And also Crown. Crown's also not bad either. If you're losing the lane phase early and you're trying to just get that power spike a bit earlier, Crown's 2800, you're still getting 85 AP and the haste that you want, and it helps you deal with some of the dive. And just finishing up the build, probably want a Rebdons, you sell this, maybe you bought a Dark Seal earlier and it becomes a Magi's. I don't like Horizon Focus as an item, generally, that's just me. I would almost always opt for like a Void here instead. Or if they got like a Fizz or some AP burst, you can go Banshees, 5th. It just kind of depends a little bit on gold spikes, a little bit on item spikes. And this is bugged. Okay. Hold on. There we go. Now it's gone. Classic. So let's just go into a little bit of the combos and what you want to be looking for. And we're going to eviscerate this crab so he gets out of our way. Alright. Let's first talk about just general 1v1 laning tips. Your WE is like your bread and butter of laning phase. This keeps your mana healthy, and it's also good for poking. Make sure to switch it up / show some variety. So like for example, I'll auto maybe 2 minions here. Hold your third bubble. A lot of people just insta throw this at a minion for last hitting purposes. Your third bubble in your WE is pretty valuable because it gets that passive, the first part of the passive proc going. So you can step up to the enemy laner. Let's just auto refresh CDs for now. Let's say you get 2 on the minions, and then the third one, they step up for a creep. Boom. That, walk away. You get your passive, it's quick burst. Or it could be the same thing, except this time they're hitting a creep and you're spacing a bit more. Boom. You get the Q with the empowered WE, which is going to get you more damage. You won't have the passive on, because you'll probably be just chilling back here and the passive will be gone. But you could do that into that and still get the passive. Or maybe if you think they're going to step forward to trade you, like if it's a Galio or something that's trying to get in your face a little bit, that doesn't have a whole lot of blinking, you could do, get 2 stacks, go for the Q, and then throw one of those down. And that'll still proc the passive. Second mistake I'm seeing, after you use your W, you have to realize your utility's kind of down for a bit. You can't WQ out of a gank super easily, and you do not have WW as well. So your skirmishing power goes down a lot. So if you're trying to prepare for like a level 3 skirmish with your jungler, be a little mindful of how you use your WCD early, because it's a really big cooldown. As for them jumping onto you, EQ, it's probably your EQ and EE are both kind of instant, but EQ helps if they're like running straight at you or if they're like a blink champion, where EE can help a lot grouping 2 of them together. It's more AoE. Personally, I've been getting more value out of EE than EQ because it is pretty instant to the location. But EQ definitely has its uses, as you'll see in some of the later VODs. Or situations where, in the later VODs where I should have EQ'd, but I end up EEing and dying. And thirdly, we have EW. People are saying this ability is bad and they're crazy. It's got a 2-second root edit, that's like a Twisted Fate gold stun duration at level 13, and it gets vision. This is a lot easier to use in these 2v2 skirmishes bot, or when you're going for poke bot. Like you shove this under one of the towers. If it lands, you get a free QW. So let's say we're pushing tower, they're trying to defend. You just sneak one in here. They're too close to the tower, boom. And this tool is also really nice if like you're super ahead on HP and you're just walking up and they're just trying to stand our tower. You can throw this behind them as a zoning tool, and then they're kind of pressured to step up. And then they're walking into your Q, potentially your R, your supports abilities. It's just a disaster for them. Q general guidelines, QQ, easiest form of poke. Does a lot of damage, quick travel time. QE is nice for these team fights and river skirmishes, and it's your main way of wave clearing. You combine it with your WE, you get the extra little damage and proc. Very nice for wave clearing. And QW is nice for finishing, as it's got increased damage based on missing health and if they're isolated. So you see a couple kills, or a couple clips where you finish off the kill with QW. Lastly, you've got your R. You can R flash pretty easily on this champion. A lot of his abilities are like a lot of flash usage because they can be casted at the same time with your flash. You can do this. EE is harder to, you don't really EE flash much, but you can. But yeah, you can use flash very aggressively on this champion and very defensively like that. R helps you get out of skirmishes. R can be used as an initial engage for a team fight if your team's low on engage. It's a lot harder to hit the long range Rs because the travel time isn't super fast. They can definitely dodge it. So if you can set it up with an EW and they're rooted, and then maybe you throw it, or you get a good EE, and then you R on it, Q. You could also go R, EQ, QQ, EQ, QQ, throw the R, run away, and then finish them with the QW. There's so many different ways to use these abilities together. And yeah, I think that about runs it for the basic ability rundown. I think we've covered a bit of each of their uses and what you're looking to do with the abilities. So let's get into the bots. Alright, let's get into game one. We are playing the Hwei v Hwei matchup. This is a quick play classic. So, level 1, you want to go for one or two things on Hwei, I feel. You go for QE, and you try to get it on most of the minions. Usually I like to do a little diagonal angle and try to see if I can sneak my Comet or my first strike onto them as well with the QE. The other way you can play level 1 is that you hold your QCD a little longer and you can QQ in their face, especially if they're melee and then you have to step up to the creep. You're almost never using QW level 1. So you see there, I tried to get him on the edge of this little creep right here. One of the things you'll notice is that if you hit like the edge, like left part of your Q on this creep, it'll explode a lot to the right. So you can definitely clip some people on the corners of these minions with your QQ. But yeah, pretty slow level 1. Wave clearing. We both took first strike. It's the QQ. Trade the poke back. Another thing we want to talk about before going into this matchup is just the jungle matchup. We have Darius versus Master Yi. Skirmishing wise, I would argue probably the Hwei Darius actually can take the win early, because Darius bleed early, does a lot of damage. So it's always good to just keep in mind the mid-jungle matchups. It helps you determine if you want to play for push or just play to farm. So since we can win this 2v2, that means playing for push is fine. Darius is coming around for a crazy angle. Looks like he went 3 camp into mid gank. He's ghosting in. And he forces the flash. So it's really good for us. We like that. A little bit more poke. Focus back to us. Slow it down a little bit. So now he's chunked, flashless. And Master Yi goes for the invade off of that gank to punish him. Good clearing by Yi. Hwei takes his pots. I'm sorry, the camera keeps moving around. Wish you'd just stay on my character through and through. So there, we do a little EQ, QQ. I'll show you once more. Slow it down a little. He EQs us. We hit him back. EQ, Q, Q. It's quick poke. Makes for a good trade. You could go for EE, QQ in that situation as well, but it'll come out a little slower. In return, it's a bit easier to hit. So now he had passive on him. I tried to get a little EE on him. Didn't quite clip him, but I know he's low, flashless, and basically We miss a QW on him. Just try to get a little bit more poke before we go for the flash all in. But I figure I can still sneak it in here. See how I'm saving that third W passive proc? I end up using it on the cannon. More to know. And a nice clean solo. So let's break down the solo kill a little bit. Low and well here. I hit 5, instant level up the Q to get more damage on this Q. And you see how I kind of clip him on the edge right here? Now he's got passive on him. Hit the EE. Passive comes together. He W's, which I'd say is the correct response from him. Trying to survive, take as much as he can. But he's just dead to autos. We flash the EE and get out nice and safely. Nice little solo. Fast forward a bit. Look at our first buy. We were able to get the chapter in the last chapter in refillable. That is the combo you're looking for on your first base if you have enough gold. The bright side, it is usually easy to hit that spike, as farming on this character is actually pretty good once you get used to it. It's got a weird learning curve at first, but it gets easier as you go on. Take some poke. But yeah, this VOD just gives a little bit of good insight on how to play the early laning. Here we get a little solo kill. Just take a look at the combo. It's about slow. Let's see what he dies to. Oh, we missed the R. But the R caused him to path towards the corner in which we threw the QW. So sometimes missing one of your abilities can help the other ability land. And we have enough with the isolation and our early item spikes to get the kill with the QW isolation damage. If we look here, looks like we might have another little solo here. Hit the R. Exchange R's, he flashes away. We're both 1 HP. And looks like I hit my QW, he doesn't. So as the game goes on, I think we eventually lose. Master Yi gets uber fed, hard to deal with. Champions that can just jump on you are a lot harder to team fight. Here we kill Heimer. Master Yi gets alpha on us and kind of just dead. But that's the end of the first VOD. Let's take a look at another one. Alright, the second VOD we're covering is another Hwei Mid matchup. He opts for the barrier, go TP. But he goes Dark Harvest. Remember, not a great rune. You just don't get any value out of it in lane. It can maybe be useful on support, but it's never going to be the one you want on mid lane. There, I get the little QE poke on him while clearing the minions. Little last hit action. Level 2 you can opt for W or E there. I opt for the W. Try to get a little extra poke with the QE on it. And you'll see what I did just there. Talked about this before, but it's important to cover. 1, 2. You see how I hold this last passive stack. Right there. And use it for the QQ. You get extra damage, more first strike gold, all that good stuff. Speed this up a bit, just standard laning. Make sure to almost always use WE off CD. Just get maximum mana value. Helps you last hit more. helps you look for more damage opportunities. Very good ability. Get the QQ on him again. Try to get a QQ there by clipping on the corner of the minion that we talked about earlier. Missed. We see there's a skirmish topside, which means we're safe to step up a bit if we want to. Get a little bit more poke. Pantheon settles on through, we laugh at him. And we get a nice big trade here. Missteps a bit, flash forward, Q fade away, free solo. Alright, let's take a look a little later in the VOD. See if we can get some mid-game skirmishing here. Looks like we die to a Pantheon gank. Oh. Pantheon W. Careful of positioning. You can definitely overstep on this champion. You get a little overconfident with your range, and then you're out of position, and 1 CC, and you get one shot on this champion. There, we just pick up a little cleanup kill with our ulti. Oh yeah, I remember this play. Let's break this down a little bit. Coming back into lane. Go for the QW poke, we miss. Here comes Pantheon. There's CC'd. We flash R, like we talked about earlier. We get the QW snipe on the way out. Getting a nice little kill on the gank. It's one thing you have to keep in mind when playing against Hwei, just how much damage you can do from afar. So even if it's a 1v2 situation, if you're squishing a bit behind, you can trade 1 for 1 or 1 for 0 if you really misplay it. Alright, a little bit more. Just make them shenanigans. And I think there's one more play I want to highlight here. We're in a 1v2 situation bot. Here they're trying to get a little cheese kill on us. Look at the current status. We're 4-1 on 2 items. We're pretty fed here. Jinx is only 1 item. We can definitely 1v2 this if we play this right. So if we slow it down, we look for the EW, we get the snipe, QW, R, and now she's basically dead. Here comes Yuumi. But watch this. Boom, 1. You can definitely chase down a bit, especially if you have vision on the enemy team. Number 2! A nice little ward we had there from earlier from one of our teammates. And number 3, since we know Yumi's got low move speed, we're just slowly walking towards her until we really get decent vision on her to go for this final snipe. And we never. Alright. Looks like we might have a potential play right here. I didn't fully go through all these VODs. I just picked a couple that I did have decent in. What happens here? Oh, so he hits a nice combo and we play cleanup. Nothing crazy. Play off your team's CC and get maximum damage value off it. And we just kinda, they eventually end up FFing because our gold lead gets a little crazy. Alright, the last VOD we're going to be covering today is a Hwei Bot Vod. Main things to note about Hwei Bot that's different from Hwei Mid. It's a lot easier to play off your teammate's CC. This isn't me, I'm over here, haha. So here I've got a Nami, I can play off her bubble to get EEs, EWs. And one other thing to capitalize off it is that it's harder to get those isolated QWs, so QQ and QEs can have more value in the bot lane. EEs can definitely have a lot more value if they're grouped up and you get a double E on them. It also helps you get multiple passive procs. So, let's take a look, see how this lane phase goes. In the lane, it's kind of a poke war in this lane. Seraphine versus Nami, Hwei on Hwei. We both land a decent bit. You'll notice I opted for the Comet setup in this lane. I think Comet's the best rune you can take bot lane right now. And I went for TP. Even for heal, but I think you get more value on TP, especially as a mage. Helps you get those recalls earlier. Right there, as you saw, we got a nice double QQ. Our Nami's going crazy. Almost gets solo. It's on 1. We miss QW by a bit. And you'll speed it up a bit. Nami flashes forward. Gets kill. Trades 1 for 1. Sorry. Keep our camera on us. I love practice tool camera. It's my favorite. Get a little poke on him. It's mandatory to emote, by the way. Oh, see right there? Hold on. Slow it down. You'll miss it if you don't look close enough. We get the nice QE slow. She's slowed. They're set up like this. This is, a juicy EE angle. They'll come together a little. Boom. You snap them both together. Comet. Get your passive. It's a good poke. That's something that happens bot lane that doesn't happen mid all that often. Heavy trades from both sides. Get the nice QW ISO on him. He's 1 HP. Speed it up a little bit. Just exchange more poke. Almost killed again. Take a nice aggro trade onto Seraphine as she was trying to kill her Nami. And you'll see right here, if I slow it down, I'm going to do the same thing I talked about earlier again. We auto the minions twice. We've got 1 stack on our WE left. We throw the QQ. That damage with the little extra you're getting from the WE combined with our Comet is the difference in killing her and not killing her there. Proceed to emote. Looks like maybe trade a bit on us here. Oh, yep. Let's take a look, see at this solo kill. This one's pretty good too. 1v2 scenario. Hwei's chunked, Seraphine's half. This is just ability order. We E, she's stuck. Throw the QQ, R. Dies to that. You see, before that started, she was at about 2/3 HP. And we killed her in 1 spell rotation. So that really just has to do with knowing your damage spikes. There we are at last chapter. And just understanding how squishy they are. But you can do a lot of damage from afar and basically kill them under their tower if they misposition. Go through the VOD a bit more. Looks like I die here. Probably overstayed. Yep, overstaying on 1 HP against Hwei. Don't do that. You're 1 QW snipe away from death. Which is, as you speed it up, is what he's going to take me with. Alright. Go a little further into the VOD. Looks like I maybe get a double kill here. Skirmishing. Killing with autos. E, QQ. Nice little cleanup. But yeah, we're out of lane at this point. The main takeaways I would take from this game and playing Hwei Bot in general is that you generally want to play it with enchanter-like supports or supports with a lot of poke so that you can get that fast push and get poke under tower. Ones I'd recommend, Nami worked decently, Seraphine works decently, especially because Seraphine's got good push and her R sets up your R. Another good combo I noticed was Ziggs support, like Ziggs and Xerath, damage supports. You get a lot of push, you can get a lot of platings real fast, and generate a lot of gold. Generally, I think Hwei works better as a support in that Xerath-like role with a bit more utility, but you can try some of these cheesy double mage bot lanes out if you want to give it a go. Personally, I don't think he slots super well into the bot role. I think he's going to be primarily a mid laner, and then the support, we go the support build we were talking about earlier. You go Leandries, Ionian Boots, Lucidity. Personally, I've been labbing Cosmic Drive, second item, a lot on the support build. And within those 3 items and the Transcendence rune you take, you're getting about 70 to 80 haste, which gets your E going really fast. You still max QEW, but with the CDs, you get a lot of utility. So yeah, that's going to about wrap up this bot lane VOD. Alright, and now we're kind of just going to take it into some general tips. First, the learning curve is steep. I'm still somewhat at the bottom of the mountain. I've got a lot of more things to learn on Hwei, a lot of matchups to try because I've just been playing a lot more of the Hwei matchup and not the actual matchups. Bad matchups I have noticed from the little bit that I have played outside of the Hwei matchup is assassins that can hop on you, the Zeds, the Echoes that can take those early trades. Those matchups are pretty hard. You might want to opt for barrier in those matchups, or if you're going TP, just play a lot more to farm, try to avoid the skirmishes. Also, mages that outrange you are a bit harder. So the Zareths, Victor, Azir, champs like that can poke you down. You kind of just play for the farm you can grab, try not to get choked out of it, try to look for 2v2s with your jungler. They're not unplayable matchups, but they're a lot harder. Especially, I played against a good Victor, I think it was a D1 Victor, and just the laser just outranges your poke, and it's really hard to get quality traits. But on the bright sides, your kit is very versatile, it fits into most games, very good champion to learn, and the learning curve is super fun. So I would encourage all of you, go out there, play a bit of Hwei, lab, let me know any runes, builds, suggestions you have in the comments, anything you'd like to see, and yeah, look out for more Hwei videos. Thanks for watching, take care, later.